Hello, I'm Joe Yip from the Orpington congregation. This morning's devotion is on Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1 to 3. Now, faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. Hebrews 11 is a very familiar passage with many of us. It starts by describing what faith looks like and then gives us examples how the ancients, or I call the giants of faith, demonstrated faith in their lives. I'd like to briefly cover three areas: faith in God, outworking of faith, and our great high priest. Faith in God. Faith is confidence or trust in a person. In this context, in this passage, it means belief or trust in God. The author points us to God, who is the one who commanded and so made what is seen out of what is unseen. He points us to the account of creation and to God who does the impossible. In the passage about the withered fig tree, you'll recall in Mark chapter 11, verse 22, where Peter was amazed that the fig tree Jesus spoke against the day before had withered so quickly. Jesus pointed to what should be the focus and basis of our faith. Jesus said, have faith in God. It is not reliance on our faith, which can go up and down depending on how we feel, nor does it depend on the ferventness of our prayers or our ability to impact a particular circumstance. We should place our trust and confidence in God, who is far greater than ourselves, who loves us and cares for us. We have a loving Father who is all-powerful, with whom all things are possible, yet who cares for each of us and desires a relationship with us, who calls us to cast all our cares and concerns to Him and to trust in Him. Psalms chapter 9 verse 10 says, those who know your name, who knows God's character, put their trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. Outworking of faith. Faith should actively be expressed in the way we live our lives. The passage in Hebrews 11 provides many examples of how the giants of faith lived lives that expressed their faith, and they were commended for it. Each character in Hebrews 11 was noted for what they did in faith. What each did was not easy nor comfortable, and often was beyond reason and required them to choose to walk in faith and put their trust in God. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews 11 verse 6. So we see that living a life of faith is important. James chapter 2, another passage which we are familiar with, describes how faith and deeds are linked. Jesus, our great high priest. We are all called to live a life of faith. Ephesians 2 verse 8 and 9 describes how we've been saved by grace through faith. Our Christian life begins with faith and requires a lifestyle of continual faith. Exercising faith in our lives is often challenging. It requires us to step outside our comfort zone and often requires us to do something we naturally prefer not to do or feel unable to do. We often beat ourselves up for our lack of faith. I really like the passage in Mark chapter 9 verse 24, when the father of the boy who the disciples couldn't heal because he had a demonic spirit, asked Jesus to help in his unbelief. He was struggling to believe that Jesus could do it. Let us ask the Lord to strengthen our faith if we are struggling. Jesus responded by strengthening this man's faith and healed his son. Hebrews 4 reminds us that we have a high priest who was able to sympathize with our weaknesses. Let's be encouraged as we have a Father who is compassionate and he understands our weaknesses and wants to help us. Jesus is the author and perfecter of our faith and is our high priest who's able to help us. Finally, we were encouraged on Sunday that when we pray, we should exercise faith and have an expectation that God hears us and he's able and willing to answer us, and he is the one who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power that's at work in us. Ephesians 3:20. Let us therefore put our trust in our Father who loves us and cares for us, and let us choose to walk by faith. Thank you.